to go into detail about a really useful safeguarding measure, the inventory. Inventories of intangible cultural heritage identify and define elements while making possible the design of safeguarding plans. They should be participatory through the consent and active participation of the communities, groups, and sometimes individuals, as well as the contribution of NGOs and other stakeholders, such as governmental institutions. In an inventory, communities identify and define an intangible cultural heritage element. They assess its viability and unveil the threats and risks that impact its practice and transmission. It makes possible the design and implementation of a coherent safeguarding plan as a response to the identified threats and risks. The processes of inventory making may differ from one country to another, depending on the legal and institutional frameworks in place, as well as on the level of community participation in general. The relationship between inventories and safeguarding plans will be illustrated using an example from Vietnam. By the end of this presentation, it will be possible to link the inventory making process and the safeguarding plan of an intangible cultural heritage element. According to Article 11b of the Convention, intangible cultural heritage inventory is a safeguarding measure. However, the relationship between the inventory and the safeguarding might not be always obvious. Developing one or more inventories of the intangible cultural heritage with the participation of communities concerned is one of the obligations of the Convention. Inventories are helpful for identifying and defining intangible cultural heritage elements, assessing their viability, building relationships for safeguarding, raising awareness, reinforcing the sense of identity and continuity of intangible cultural heritage bearers, and contributing to good governance and sustainable development. In an inventory work led by the community, you need to establish contact and build relationship, identify support structures in and outside the community, ensure free, prior, and informed consent of the bearers, and maintain communication and community relations. This is likely to prepare for the safeguarding plan as smoothly as possible. A safeguarding plan is a coherent set of institutional, legal, and financial actions, as well as specific activities intended to strengthen the viability of a given intangible cultural heritage element. It acts with the aim of enhancing well-identified indicators pertaining to practice and transmission. Views might be different or even contradictory regarding the measures to be included in a safeguarding plan, on the priorities, the schedule, or the financing resources. Dialogue and consultation among community members with the assistance of other stakeholders is necessary to agree on those measures and actions that are able to ensure the safeguarding of the intangible cultural heritage. The elaboration of a safeguarding plan by the communities with the assistance of other stakeholders is a participatory and long process. A step-by-step approach may lead to satisfactory results. First, communities need to identify and define the element to be safeguarded, as well as its social functions, cultural significations, and value. Second, through the inventory process, identify threats and risks that impend over the element. Third, define main objectives and expected results for the safeguarding plan. Fourth, determine safeguarding activities and define human and financial resources required. Fifth, implement and monitor and evaluate the safeguarding plan. Xuan singing of photo province in Vietnam includes singing, dancing, drumming, and clapper beating. It is closely linked to the worship of the Hung Kings, a belief rooted in the ancestor worship practice of the Viet people. Bearers and practitioners from 4 guilds, in which the male and female drum or chief play the most important role. In 2009 and 2010, inventory of Xuan singing of Photo Province was undertaken by the local folklorist society, the Department of Culture, and the communities. In 2010, the Vietnamese Institute of Musicology built on its experience and inventoried the element in the perspective of preparing a safeguarding plan in the framework of the nomination for inscription on the list of the intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding. Inventorying of Xuan singing made it possible to identify threats and risks hanging over its viability, the lack of resources, the lengthy time needed to master the songs, the majority of bearers being over 60 years in age, among which only 7 could transmit Xuan singing, the decrease of interest among people, mainly the younger generations. Between 2011 and 2014, the safeguarding plan was implemented, and it included the following measures. Update Xuan singing inventory each year. Organize and store the documentation. Encourage the population of Photo Province to practice Xuan singing, mainly youth, through awareness-raising campaigns. Restore the whole 31 Xuan singing repertoires of the traditional masters. Assign the title Artist of Xuan singing of Photo Province to renowned practitioners. Support financially the guilds in organizing workshops for Xuan singing transmission to young male and female apprentices. Introduce Xuan singing to school programs in the province with the assistance of practitioners from the guilds. Restore temples and houses hosting Xuan singing performances. Produce radio and TV programs on Xuan singing as well as other media support. What were the results of this project? 31 traditional repertoires of Xuan singing were documented. 4 guilds of practitioners were maintained and reinforced. 34 artists, among which 27 women, received the distinction Artist of Xuan singing of Photo Province. 62 young artists were trained by 15 renowned practitioners. 19 out of 30 temples and traditional houses associated with Xuan singing were restored. More than 100 schools have added Xuan singing to their programs. And finally, tens of audiovisual programs have been broadcasted on local and national TV channels and radios. As illustrated by Xuan singing, successful safeguarding activities are rooted in the inventory process through community participation. In 2010, the viability indicators were in the red zone, according to the metaphor of traffic lights I usually use to discuss intangible cultural heritage safeguarding. In 2014, the implementation of the safeguarding plan allowed for moving Xuan singing to the green zone. What were the achievements? The cooperation of the parties concerned by Xuan singing, including the communities, groups, and individuals, was crucial in reaching that objective. Not only the element was safeguarded, but it was withdrawn from the urgent safeguarding list. Xoan Singin of Photo-Provence was then inscribed on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. I was a member of the Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee's evaluation body in 2015 when Vietnam submitted its report on Xoan Singin and expressed its will to remove it from the urgent safeguarding list. I was also a member of that body in 2017 when we recommended the inscription of the Xoan Singin of Photo-Provence on the representative list. This is one of the stirring moments when you see how the correct identification, definition, and viability assessment through inventorying a safeguarding plan addresses the very threats and risks that impact practice and transmission of an intangible cultural heritage element. This was indeed an outstanding achievement. Thank you for your attention.